For more than 6.5 years, DHS, Dallas, Oregon, Polk County District 3 has seen to it that at every possibility they will do their utmost to alienate our daughter, Peh McDaniel, from myself and her mother especially. Whatever community visit that we plan, the Orcs at the Dallas, Oregon DHS office make absolutely sure that for some reason, at the very last minute, Peh does not show up. I'm going to call these Orcs out by name. The caseworker is Sara Scott Pickett. Laurel Gould, Jacqueline Nix, Aubrey Havocost, Stacy Dashner, Amber McClelland, Shelley, Michaela. We don't know what part you played in this yesterday. The choice is yours. You can be one of the pool of Orcs, or you can have no part of it. No matter what we plan ahead of time as a community visit, the Orcs of DHS Dallas, Oregon will make sure that at the last minute, Peh doesn't show up with her brother for the visit. Carissa Vela, you can pretend that you're not part of the Orc parade, but it doesn't cut it. It absolutely doesn't cut it. Aaron Vela, it doesn't cut it. You know what's going on. You're part of it. Yesterday was the 4th time that Peh has been pulled out of a visit at the last minute. Plan an event for 2 weeks. The whole family's there, all the siblings, set to meet at a restaurant. Yesterday, the meeting was for 1:30. At 1:24, they send out a text that, Peh isn't coming. She has a headache, a mysterious headache at the last minute for the most traumatizing effect they can generate. That's what they do. You're really an evil group of people. And nothing that you do benefits anyone in a worthwhile way. It's all about cruelty. All of you women, it's about cruelty to other women. You're sadistic. I don't care how much they pay you. And then Amber McClelland, who's being paid $130,000 a year, pretends she doesn't know what's going on. Jacqueline Nix, $107,000. Laurel Gould, $102,000. Scumbags, absolute scumbags, parasites on the taxpayer dollar. Stasi. I've been all over the world. I've never met such a group of evil bitches. Never. Not even close. Come to work pretending they're all nice people, covered with tattoos. Can't get a job doing anything else because they have no skills except cruelty. That's the only skill they have. the Orcs of DHS, Dallas, Oregon, District 3. What you generate is tragedy. You have no concern for children. It's just these big incomes for you. The little ones, they want to have the big incomes that the rest of you have. Michu, their mother, is a minority Aka woman from Southeast Asia. And you explain to me, you orcs, how you're not racist. Okay? You can't explain that. What a nasty group. What a nasty group of people. I want everybody out there to know how much you're getting paid to be and do the evil things you do. And Peh McDaniel, she'll find out all the details of what you do. That she's being manipulated, that it's a setup. DHS promised Carissa Vela a daughter. So they went out, rip off a daughter somewhere. Aubrey Havocost engineered that. Stacy Dashner. What a useless group of human beings. Judge Hill said the witness was credible. We proved in a court of law that she lied. And based on his decision and her lies, these children were taken away for more than 6.5 years. There's more freedom in Russia. There's more freedom in most parts of the world than what you people are doing. People that hear this story find it incomprehensible. Well, this was an interesting day. Will be interesting to find out who was involved. So, we have planned visits ahead of time for a couple weeks to take the kids, Peh and Alum, out for dinner. Now, Beverly Boatman one time took Peh aside and got her to go home early and not go see her mom. And then we had a dinner scheduled at Bangkok Street Thai restaurant in Dallas, and Sara Scott saw to it that Peh didn't show up, and then lied to Alum and said that the reason his mother didn't show up was she was confused. Now we had a pizza party planned, Abby's Pizza in Dallas, and Once again, op-ed didn't show up. So today we had Thai food planned, 1:30, Wednesday. What is the date? June 13th, 1:30 to 3:30, Thai food for op-ed alum, planned for 2 weeks. Laurel Gold knew about it. Everybody knew about it. So all the older brothers and sisters, everybody was there in the parking lot at probably 15 after 1 o'clock, waiting for the kids to show up. And at 1:24, a text went out that, oh, op-ed won't be coming. That's the 4th time. It was very traumatic on people. I have no doubt that Sara Scott was involved. She was the one that engineered the previous events. She's the caseworker. Now, it shows that they know nothing about trauma. They don't care. They're sadistic. Cruel would be too kind of a word for them. You know, I see these women, you know, that have limited children and they're divorced. They're taking these big pay scales. Now I just pretend that they don't know what's going on. So I asked Amber McClelland today, I said, how do you not know what's going on? You're making over $100,000 a year. So I thought that I would just read some interesting salaries while we're at it. Now, I believe that the majority of the people working at DHS Dallas, Polk County, District 3 in Dallas, Oregon, are women and racist white women who just enjoy that extra amount of being cruel to a minority woman, the children's mother. I think Steve Walls enjoys it too. Now, Carissa Vela is either psycho, meaning she has no capacity to understand the trauma that op-ed and Alum's mother has gone through, or she has low IQ. Aaron Vela apparently doesn't have any problem with all this. Either that or he has no cojones. Amber McClelland makes out she doesn't know what's going on. But maybe the women at Dallas DHS can explain or prove somehow how they aren't racist. What else is their explanation? Laurel Gould makes $102,432 a year. Jacqueline Nix, $107,460. These are off the internet. So if I'm off by $1, blame the internet. OpenOregon.com. Aubrey Hatlecost, $65,520. Now her salary's about doubled since she introduced herself. I've noticed that the salaries of Laurel and Jacqueline and Amber go up about $10,000 per year. You look at the salary records. Aubrey Havicost, $65,520. Amber McClelland, $130,392. Stacy L. Dashner, now she's the early on supervisor that was okay with all this stuff going down. She was quite the bullshit artist. $137,004. Sara Scott, $67,176. DOJ attorney Sarah Hernandez, $163,584. Now, Judge Hill, $154,692. So how is it that Sarah Hernandez is making like $9,000 a year more than Judge Hill when she comes across as inexperienced and incompetent? So ripping off kids, tell me it's not about the money. Here's the money. That's just the Dallas office. That's just some of the people that work there. So Amber McClelland, $130,392 a year for doing what? You don't build anything. You destroy things. You don't make anything. You don't repair anything. You sit in a back cubicle and stick pins in dolls, maybe. I don't know. But you don't do anything. That's like $10,000 a month. And you don't know what's going on, you claim. You don't know that Sara Scott's pulling all this stuff off. Of course, you approve of it. It's all part of the plan. So there we were in the parking lot. We were going to have a joyous occasion with two little kids, all the Thai food they could eat, their brothers and sisters. And you people at DHS Dallas had to destroy all that. And I wonder about the outcome. You know, it's like, you would think that if you believe in any karma at all, you wouldn't want to be heaping misery on a mother. But I brought that up. I said, you know, the interesting thing is most of the DHS workers are women. And it's just phenomenal how much they enjoy being cruel to other women and getting paid for it. It's all about making the money, you know. The more brutal you can be, the more money you'll climb up the ladder. You know, Aubrey has quite a ways to go. So Sara Scott, you know what you're doing. You're orchestrating things. Everything in America has become pretty corrupt. Court dates get put off further and further. Keep pushing. Keep tormenting. Oh, you can't discuss. This isn't the place or the time for it. You know, it reminds me of that YouTube video from years ago I saw of Amber McClelland. I don't know, she's on somebody's doorstep trying to rip off their kids, and they were videotaping her, you know. It was like Amber McClelland asked me, my phone rang. It was one of the attorney people. I was talking to Amber and she said, "Are you recording?" And I said, "No, it's someone just called." And she goes, "Well, answer it." Like I'm her fucking kid or something. I told her, I says, "You're not my teacher and I'm not in class." You know, it's like these Karens, they're just incredible. They think they run the world, you know, and what do they have to show for it? It's like they have no sense of optics. I told her, I said, "You know, if I go down here to the stop sign when I leave, and a 1967 red Corvette convertible pulls up next to me, it's like, interesting car. Now, if I pull out next time to the same stop sign and the same 1967 red convertible pulls up next to me, and the third and fourth time I pull up to that stop sign and the same 1967 red convertible pulls up next to me, it's not a coincidence." And on the fourth event, 5 minutes before the pre-scheduled community visit, Ape suddenly doesn't show up. And you tell me that's a coincidence, Amber. I mean, you should have at least enough intelligence at 130,000 a year to realize that's not a coincidence. Laurel Gold, the one that sends out the letters, you know? Yeah, Laurel Gold. Are you recording? Why would I record? Why would I want to put your vile voice on a recording? To play it back, to listen to it? Why would I want to do that? You know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. There's no secret. You promised Carissa Vela a daughter. She goes to court. She can't talk without Sara making faces and swinging her legs wildly under the table. I thought she was trying to beat some fucking eggs or something. Unemployable, overweight, aged out, unemployable Karens that get on the state government payroll are unable to produce anything of value and spend their time trying to make other people's lives miserable. You know, you think about it, it's like you just look up on the internet, like, what'd you do all your life? Why was a shit CPS worker taking people's kids away and torturing mothers? That's my claim to fame. That's what I did all my life. You know, fucking cancer this big's eating my ovaries or some damn thing, and they wonder why. Like hysterectical, you know. That's why I said, like, hysterectical Sara Hernandez, you know. I told Amber McClelland, I said, you know, these kids are going to grow up, you know. But all you women will be the same nasty, cruel, sadistic women that you are now. You bring no joy to anybody, you know. You know, the word killjoy, you know, so you could have been there in the parking lot and seen this whole family waiting in anticipation for these two little kids to show up to show them a good time. And you had to destroy that and then pretend that you didn't know how that happened. Well, fuck you, Sara Scott. You're just a douchebag. That's all. I never met your ex. In the boat world, we have a saying, or some people say, not all boat owners say it, but some people say, the two happiest days of your life is when you buy a boat and when you sell it. And I can't help but think of how the ex was so happy to sell that boat. I mean, it's like you live to be cruel. And it's like, the joke's on you. You live to be cruel. You live to be sadistic. You live to be a fat white woman with her hands on her hips, making life shit for a little minority woman with kids, Yeah, that's what you do because, that's who you are. That's on you. That's what you do because that's what you are. And you're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. Yeah, ex-wives go to court, they get caught in their own lies. They do. You got Steve Walls. I mean, the only thing he doesn't have is a circle on his forehead where he smashes the beer cans. TPR Stephen Ray Walls is so funny, It's like a slow-moving train. Each car is like cage, like at the Barnum and Bailey, and they got lions and some and giraffes and some, and you have all these characters, and this car goes by and it's sagging in the middle, and Beverly Boatman and Sara Scott are in that car, eating Doritos or something, Twinkies. Another car goes by, Amber McClelland's in that one. She says, "Where are we going? How'd we get here? Who did what? What do you mean? How'd that happen?" Yeah. Yeah. All the DHS bitches. At the end of the day, they're all in the same game for the same thing. Doesn't matter if they're an SSA, caseworker, front desk. They're all part of the camps. The cruelest women worked in the camps. That's historical fact. Sadistic, very sadistic, cruel women. What they did to prisoners. Families are prisoners. Children are prisoners. And these are the same people, sadistic, cruel. It's fun to them. They pretend they don't know what's going on. It's all just coincidence. Well, I get to know more and more people in the Hispanic community and Independence in Dallas and Monmouth. Well, eventually, Alum and Apeh will find out what y'all did. Jim Leuenberger was a good lawyer. He knew how to push back, demand some answers. DHS Dallas office is so corrupt, so completely corrupt. Sadistic, a bunch of tatted up women. Maybe DHS Dallas is where they go after they get off crack, meth, everything else is like a retirement plan. So we're pushed out to August, going on 7 years. Cast of characters. I'm thinking about this. Judge Hill's salary, he was the one who said my ex-wife was credible. We proved in court that she lied, perjured herself. So I wonder if that explains the only $154,000. Let's see, 30 years, disgruntled divorcee. She's not bitter. She wouldn't lie about nothing. I find her credible. I find she has fleas and lice. Left the courtroom like a drowned chicken, a wet cat. Life's disappointing when you ride the cock carousel. Doesn't work out so well. It's interesting. Aubrey Havocost was a cruel caseworker, and Sara Scott is a cruel caseworker. Aubrey Havocost makes $65,000. Sara Scott makes $67,000. So now they do this with guidance and permission of people like Laurel Gold and Jacqueline Nix and Amber McClelland, and then those three, they claimed that they didn't know anything about it. Oh, what's going on? This isn't a place to discuss it. Oh, sorry, too bad. But they're like foot soldiers, They want to be that 100,000, that 130,000 salary. They want to see their salaries go up 10,000 a year. If they pull enough bullshit, they get a raise. So that's how you know that DHS is structurally evil and corrupt, is because you look at the incompetence of these top people and their denial of knowing what's going on. Like, I think Laurel Gold wrote me a letter and said, don't be talking in the lobby. Well, it's a public space, Laurel. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk in the lobby. And I'm going to talk in the parking lot. And I'm going to talk in a lot of other places too. Okay? So your behavior brings DHS into greater disrepute, in the Dallas office especially, because there's probably other offices in the state wondering what the shit is going on there with those people in Dallas at that office. Those goat ropers out in Central Oregon, who people accuse them of being racist. They probably laugh and spit a chaw of tobacco on the ground and say, yeah, well, we may be racist, but we're nothing like that office in DHS Dallas, Oregon, Polk County District 3. No way, man. Those people are over the top. So some Mexican women were talking about how despicable white women treat them, look down on them like they're stupid, uneducated. Yeah, well, the white women can't wipe their own butts without a Mexican to help them. That's the bottom line. The whole country's run by Mexicans. And the day of white women being king on the hill, go down here to the road in the mornings with the Hispanic women all lined up with their kids, not somebody else's little girl, their own kids, okay? Their own kids. Getting on the school buses. You don't see a bunch of white kids lined up, born by white women. You don't see that. It's all the people in the schools. You go to the restaurants, The Mexicans make all the food, your roofers, the painters, all the landscape people, everywhere you go. They laughing, they're having a good time. One of my friends, he's a farmer, he's always having a good time, always laughing. All right? And then these white women get a job at DHS and all they do is be like cruel. It's like, just in a poetic sense, is where are they going to end up? You know, hell is not going to be full of laughing Mexicans. It isn't going to happen. But you can imagine where all these other people are going to end up. You're going to be, a bunch of cruel-ass bastards. Oh, yeah, this woman, we took her baby away at the hospital. And this woman here, we told her if you do this, you'll get your kids back. But we ain't never giving those kids back. We'll just lead her on forever, right? Yeah. You see how people take an attitude about evil white people, cruel white people, sadistic white people. You go in the DHS office in Dallas and I asked them, explain to me how you're not racist. Here, my wife's a minority woman. You've treated her like shit for 6.5 years, cruelly, sadistically, knowingly. It's all in your plan. It's all in your game. Explain it to me, Amber. Explain it to me, Laurel. Jacqueline, explain it to me. The kids will grow up, and you'll still be who you are. Ripping off kids for cash, destroying families. Tell me it's not about the money. DHS, Dallas, Oregon. Wherever I go, I tell people how racist the white people in Dallas, Oregon are. Home of the cake, that three of them together. Yeah. Trauma. The trauma that they have imposed on Meet You, My Wife, the visible trauma. Somebody said the banality of evil, And when I think of DHS, Dallas, Oregon, I think of evil. Children of Satan, if you will. No happy outcomes, just evil. All freaking out, overdosing on their power to tweak families. You can't say this and you can't say that, Yeah, like Stasi. Power corrupts. So I got this picture. And I want to show it to you because they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Now here's the picture. It appears to be a big Vela family get-together. And it shows all these people, all adults, some considerably overweight, and there's 3 kids. There's Aaron Vela, a little potbelly, and Carissa Vela, and then there's these 3 kids. 3 little kids, that's all. And 2 of those little kids are Aka kids, Peh and McDaniel. And they look like forlorn orphans. There's the picture. I'll get up close so you can look at it. And down there in the middle, right there in the front, that's Alum and Peh. Did you know what the definition of genocide is? One of the definitions, you could look it up on the UN website, is to take persons of one culture and remove them from their group and make them members of another group, another culture, intentionally. It's genocide. That's what these people are participants in. So there's our 2 little kids with this big group of people that don't speak Aka. And Carisavella can jump up and down in church on Sunday and be proud of that, I suppose. We know compassion isn't one of her things. We know that, like I say, it's an IQ issue. Either you suspect something's afoot that's not quite right, or you're okay with it, which means you're sick, or you're too slow to know. Trauma-informed. No one at DHS Oregon in Dallas, Oregon is trauma-informed. That was what I was getting onto. Is there's this thing, it's really hilarious. I mean, if you saw how it affected somebody to show up for dinner with your 2 little kids that you've been separated from for more than 6.5 years, and have them tell you for the 4th time 5 minutes before this pre-planned meal you're going to have with your little kids, oh yeah, they're not going to show up. I wonder what bullshit y'all told Alu. I wonder who else was in the car with Shelly. We got to come clean, Shelly. You got to tell us who else was in the car. Did you pull this stunt off on your own? You're on the shit list if you did. Michaela, you play along, you're on the shit list. You're just another shit from DHS Dallas, Oregon. So, My Oregon News. Child Welfare Division workers embrace peer support after traumatic events. You poor fuckers. You cause traumatic events. And then you embrace peer support. You better have some big ass arms, man, because those are some big ass embraces. The work of child welfare professionals is immensely rewarding. For who? $130,000 a year? I'd say it's immensely rewarding. They support children and families in need by destroying them. They facilitate family reunifications by interrupting those reunifications 5 minutes before they happen. And they get to see children flourish and grow when they receive support by doing those kinds of things. It can also be enormously challenging for child welfare professionals to witness the trauma and the grief of children and families that child welfare workers cause. This can be harmful to the child welfare workers. The hell with the children and families, no mention of them. To support workers through these difficult experiences of watching the children and families suffer because of the cruel little nasty shit they do to the families. At great cost to the taxpayer, Child Welfare Division has implemented a new tool to support workers. The Critical Incident Stress Management Model, except when children die and you don't report it. Once used for soldiers. It was that country where the soldiers were made to do really cruel things, and so they got this special division together that did the really cruel things because it was too hard on the other soldiers. Remember that? Maybe it's like a lot of similarities here. The Critical Incident Stress Management Model, once used for soldiers returning from battle, has now been adopted by Oregon's child welfare workforce at great expense to the taxpayer, another program. Since 2020, when they started this Prevent Trauma to Caseworkers for Causing Trauma to Families, nearly 250 staff members have been supported through individual or group sessions paid for by who? What's the cost of this? Okay? Taxpayers paying to treat the PTSD that caseworkers get from the shit they do to families and children. Child welfare staff Amy the Hinkle and Amber the McClelland and Michelle the Zurcher are currently trained facilitators, and more will join the team soon. They're trained to do what? To, at 130,000, not know what their caseworkers are up to, being cruel, violating DHS procedures, not trauma informed, all about the trauma for the caseworkers. Okay. These three facilitators have worked in the division for years as caseworkers, like in the video of Amber McClelland on some woman's front doorstep, central office staff, like a staph infection, and training facilitators, training other caseworkers how to be cruel. Hinkle says she started exploring CISM after 2018 after 2 workers died by suicide. So these guys go to Iraq and they shoot people they don't know, and then they come home and they commit suicide. We have a parallel here. Caseworkers do really cruel, shitty things to people. Hello, Aubrey Havicost, Sara Scott. And then they develop like a disorder. All right? And then they want the state and the taxpayer, which is you, to pay for fixing the disorder that they caused so they could try to get up there to that 130,000. Local branches were recognizing the need for formal support for our workforce while they do cruel things to families. The work is hard day to day, dealing with the courts, going into people's homes, ripping off their kids, dealing with families in trauma. No support for the families in trauma. How it's a big mystery, like the big elephant in the room, doofus. The work can affect everyone involved. Workers who see case reports come across their desks. Dealing with trauma of their own. I'm so sorry, Amber, that you've gone through trauma and now you're helping other caseworkers who torment families deal with their trauma too. I'm so sorry. Laurel, I hope you're getting trauma support. Participants receive personalized resources and advocacy to support their specific needs. How wonderful that you caseworkers and staff workers get all the support you need so that you have the energy to go out there in the morning and cancel a prearranged family dinner 5 minutes before it happens. Not the first time, but like the third and fourth time. Okay? I'm so glad you have support for doing evil things like that. You're going to have a lot more support where you're going, you know. Yeah. You're going to need a lot of support for all the shitty things you've done. Yep, there's a picture of clueless Amber McClelland. All white women screwing with people's kids. Yep, traumatic support. You're laughable. Yep. The racist Dallas, Oregon DHS office. All the trauma support they need. Yeah. You have to look at it like a train going by in slow motion, like a black comedy, you know? And they put like Aubrey Habacost at the end of the train because apparently people don't like to work with her so much. Yeah. You just watch it all go by, slow motion. All these people thinking that it doesn't matter. They get away with it, so it doesn't matter. I think these videos are interesting because a lot of people know that Polk County is pretty racist. And if they take a tour of the DHS office in Dallas, Oregon, see how white it is, if they'd seen all the ways in which they treated my wife, you know, nobody should be offended, you know, how we treat your wife, you know, we try to divide and conquer. Well, we're pretty loyal to each other, you know. On a farm, run a couple of businesses, make sure kids have everything they need, keep the bills paid. Yeah. Don't have our hand out to the government, the corrupt government. We produce something. Food, repair things, build things. What do you people at DHS Dallas do? What do you produce? Not only do you produce nothing besides grief and trauma, but you're not capable of producing anything else. So it's like a retirement center for Karens. Yep. Watch the train go by. It's like a sadistic comedy with a bunch of female camp guards. Distorted personalities, trying to keep everything secret what they're really up to. Like, you know, these salaries, pretty phenomenal. Don't tell me it's not about the money. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent every month on these white women in the DHS office building in Dallas, Oregon. And they produce absolutely nothing but misery, cruelty, sadistic. Yeah. Well, my work, I fix things for people, make them happy. It's not just getting paid. You can get paid for doing a lot of things, but it makes them so happy when things are fixed. So it's not for me to figure out how you get happiness by breaking things, by breaking people, by tormenting people. I can't figure that out. I can't figure out why Chris Avell is so clueless, why Aaron Vell is so clueless, like they don't know what's going on. I think they're just going to take somebody's kids and ride off into the sunset. That it's not going to haunt them, that those kids won't find out. They're going to play along and say they didn't know anything about it. Didn't know what was going on. Nobody told us anything. And we're too stupid to read between the lines. Yeah, the comedy train.